Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video where today we return with more iRacing, this time round back in the Mercedes W13 for a lap around the Nordschleife. Yes, we did this back with the Mercedes W12 last year over on my main channel. That was very good fun. It's weird to think just how far we've come since that video, but yeah, I've hyped it up this week. I was going to try and bring this car to the Nordschleife, of course. The W13, I think in real life this would be an absolute nightmare of a circuit. I mean, it would be an absolute nightmare of a circuit to go around in any Formula 1 car, but with the porpoising, that was not how my intro was planning on going, I'll be completely honest with you. Right, well anyway, like I was trying to say, then of course with all the porpoising you get from the real life Mercedes W13, whether for better or for worse isn't simulated on iRacing, we're going to wait and see as to how this car goes around this track. Now, last year, unfortunately, in the W12 test, I actually did the TORA version of the Nürburgring, so we didn't actually get a full lap out of it, but 450 was the time, obviously, when you exclude the 1.3 kilometre back straight. So, I mean, yeah, I think that car probably was capable to go around here, even by me, with a bit of practice, things like that, in just under 5 minutes. Of course, the W13 is nowhere near as fast as the W12. I think sort of around normal circuits it's been losing 2 to 4 seconds a lap, depending on the track you've gone to, but we'll wait and see as to how this thing will get on today. The plan is pretty simple. We're going to do this one out lap, obviously no battery deployment, anything like that, and then I'm going to try and commentate somewhat a lap around the Nürburgring in the Mercedes W13. Quickly as well, before we jump in, I want to say a massive thank you to all of you for the insane and continued support on this second channel. 4,000 subscribers, we've ticked that off now. We're well on our way towards 5k as well by the end of the year, which, you know, considering this channel had very humble beginnings just a couple of months ago, you know, we've done really well, I think, over the last couple of months with it. You know, we want to try and build it up as somewhere a bit more fun, sim racing, doing various little things that don't really work on the main channel. So yeah, just a thank you to all of you that have been sticking around and enjoying some of the content here. You know, some of it is still F1, as you would expect, but a lot of it is sort of various sim racing antics, and certainly as we get into 2023, we're going to try a whole lot more things as well there. But yeah, I mean, so far actually this car handling the bumps quite nicely. I've loaded up, of course you don't, funnily enough, you don't get a Nordschleife setup for the W13. I've actually loaded up a Suzuka setup, though, you know, Suzuka's fairly bumpy as well, you know, a bit more old school, a good combination of high speed but also high downforce as well. I kind of thought, just looking through all of the setup sheets, that was probably going to be the best setup for this car, so we'll see how we get on over the course of the flying lap, and obviously got to make sure that we save all the battery ready for that lap as well. There are, of course, top speeds at the moment, only about 170 miles an hour, as we head up in towards the second half of the lap. But yeah, of course, on the attacking lap, we'll certainly be able to get a lot more out of it. Of course, you know, aiming to go quicker than the Porsche 919 Evo, of course, that 5-minute 19 lap time that was set by that car a couple of years ago. But I think, sensibly, I reckon we'll get around a 5:10 at this car as well. Now, that's sort of like the little goal I've set myself for a lap around the Nürburgring. Of course, the other big question is, will I stack it? Of course, I'm sure many of you don't have much faith in me. It's how is Carousel actually? Oh, it wants to push at Carousel. Yeah, I think the floor just a bit too low on this car, so I need to make sure that I avoid Carousel then, I think, on our attacking lap in just a moment. But I think this will really be the part of the track where this car comes alive here. Very high speed. You know, needs sort of a lot of downforce as well, of course, that now you're getting from underneath with this new generation of Formula 1 cars. I mean, look at this. I'm trying not to take too much out of the tyres. I'm trying to be quite conscious of that on this outlap, but still, it wills you to go on faster. All the Formula 1 cars, you know, the really great Formula 1 cars are constantly wanting you to try and drive them closer and closer to the limit. And of course, yeah, the Mercedes wasn't exactly the best car of 2022, but certainly made a lot of progress later on to the year, and was, you know, a lot more competitive with the Red Bulls and the Ferraris of this world. You know, it'd be great to sort of get those. I know it'll never happen, but it would be pretty cool to get those cars in as well, you know, do sort of some comparisons between them, things like that as well. But yeah, heading down in towards the final sector of the circuit. Of course, the Nürburgring, Nordschleife, are normally sort of a 7 or 8 minute lap time. You kind of forget just how quickly these cars are until you bring them back to a circuit like this, because obviously you don't really drive Formula 1 cars around here much very often. You haven't sort of got that reference point So yeah, they kind of just feel cartoonishly fast. Mini carousels, alright. So I guess we know that as well. Ready for this lap. And yeah, just heading down in towards the final couple of corners, trying to make sure we've got the tyres up to temperature. Everything like that. Of course, don't want to use any battery that I don't need to on this out lap. I don't know whether to go attack mode or qualifying mode. I'm thinking attack mode actually might be the way to go, but we'll wait and see what the battery usage is like. You know, this is meant to just be a bit of fun as well, you know, something that I wanted to try out with the Mercedes W13 around the Nordschleife, and also a good test for myself to see if we can commentate a lap around this circuit. But yeah, heading under the Bilstein Bridge then, getting ready as we head through Tiergarten, about to start this lap then from the Nürburgring Nordschleife, and just ease it off nicely in towards these final couple of corners, get the tyres back down a little bit, we'll bring it into attack mode as we just head ready then through the final couple of corners. This is going to be a flying lap and a half around the Nürburgring. Second gear through the final corner, monitor the throttle at the final turn, and then up over the line, braking immediately just before you go past the pit exit there. We're going to make sure that we get the HUD at the screen, don't need any distractions as we head down through this first section of corners there. 7th gear on the way in, tip the car back through, of course avoid the curbing throughout the entirety of this S section. You can attack that one just a little bit there. Front end wanted to push out wide, a lot more understeer in the W13 than the W12, but we gather it up nicely on the exit of the first couple of turns. Their attack mode activated. You can see the car using a lot of the battery as we head up the hill. I mean, this corner is completely nothing in a modern Formula 1 car. They're absolutely flat out, like it's not even there pretty much, as we head now through one of the faster parts of the lap. Top speeds approaching 190 miles an hour, about 310 clicks as we head in towards one of what is normally quite a daunting corner, but again, ground effect, Formula 1 car, that's not really a challenge whatsoever through there. 4th gear as we head now down in towards Vauxhall, allow the car to run nicely on the corner exits. Again, down the hill we go, avoid the curbs on either side, and then this next corner, one of my absolute favourites, as we head back up the hill on the other side. Down 1 gear through the first part, and then down another 2 through the second. 5th gear there, straightening it up. Oh, a little bit of front locking. Get away with it, avoid the curbing on the exit, and avoid, yeah, that one as well on the outside of the turn. I mean, this thing just cycles up through the gears. Once again, though, when you've got the attack mode on, we have used a lot of battery in the first half of this lap. I mean, again, that corner completely flat out in this car, and then just nudge the curb there. It's kind of difficult, actually, sometimes to judge where the front end is. It's just, again, scrubbing the tyres through a couple of the corners. You can really feel the working as we go through miss, hit, miss. Absolutely full throttle there, no question about it. This corner is really, really difficult. Track falls away from you. Got to try and get the nose rotated in, and again, you really got to avoid a lot of the curbs on the exits of many of these corners here. Over the bridge, over out, and now we go 4th gear on the way in, 5th gear on the way out, and then back into 4th. No! Damn it! That was going pretty well up to that point. We might have to go for a bit more of a sweat lap, I feel. Right, well, we certainly learnt a lot from that first attempt here around the Nordschleife, so we're going to go for it again then, and fingers crossed we're not actually going to bin it this time. Yeah, there might have to be a mix of comms and no comms around this lap, but let's wait and see then what we can do. Going to try qualifying mode this time. Feel like it might just look after the battery a bit better, because, yeah, we were absolutely just going to melt through it last time round there. It's back down over the start-finish line then. A little bit more cautious in towards turn 1. They're actually a lot more cautious that time round. Fingers crossed we'll find the time as the lap goes on then, in towards the S's for the first time again. Then just get the car down 2 gears on the way in. Again, really want to try and avoid the curbing. I mean, pretty much around most of this lap, to be honest, but especially through some of these early corners there is, yeah, definitely the qualifying mode there, not as aggressive as the attack mode, as a little bit of a slip up as well off of the first few corners. You know, this certainly isn't going to be the perfect lap. I'm not the greatest iRacer in the world, but hopefully if we can have some good fun and really just chuck around, you know, a crazy fast car still, you know, this Mercedes certainly won't go down as an icon by any stretch of the imagination, but it still just goes to show, you know, I'm used to certain cars in iRacing, how ridiculous some of these vehicles still are there, as it's still not really using any of its battery at the moment, so no idea what's going on there. 3rd gear this time round as we try and head down into Vauxhall, and looks like it only really wants to use the battery in the lower gears, so we might try and change it up into attack mode when I get a chance in just a moment as we head up through Vauxhall. Certainly costing us a lot of time early on in this lap, but maybe, just maybe, we've saved some of it to use later on. As there we go, we'll flick it up into attack mode. Now we'll go for it around the rest of the lap. That might have just done ourselves a bit of a favour, but you never quite know in this car. It's going to take a lot of testing, I think, for a lot of people much better at iRacing than me to work out the optimal way to use it all around this lap. You can already see there, sneaking back a few hundredths. Almost ran it off in towards the wall. They're so easy to do in these high downforce cars. Don't know what it is, they just do not grip up through there. As through hit, miss, hit. Get away with that quite nicely. Down the hill. Again, avoid the front locking. Tiny bit of understeer there, but we get away with it. Definitely cost myself half second or so, but you know what, around the Nürburgring, you're always trying to get as close to the perfect lap as possible. You're never quite going to hit it. It's got to be careful through here this time round. There we go, much, much better that time. And now we're going to be able to hopefully eat away a lot of the time that we'd set on our previous lap. Back down towards some of the more dramatic parts. Oh, have we damaged the front wing? I don't know if we damaged the front wing. Well, I'll be honest, there's only so many outlaps I can do before I bin it on a proper lap around the Nürburgring. I thought we'll head back to the TORA. That gives us a good reference point against the lap that I did last year as well. And yeah, just so frustrating doing a 7 or 8 minute so outlap just to bin it 3 minutes in to my proper one. But let's go for it then. Here at the Nürburgring, attack mode is engaged. We've got a 450 from last year. That is the goal, and now I'm really going to have to try and sweat it to make sure we get this lap in. Let's just focus up now, Matt. Clearly, I'm not quite there yet to commentate a full lap at the Nürburgring in a Mercedes Formula 1 car. Toto is going to be very upset with my antics today. You've got to be kidding me. Final two corners. Final two corners of the lap. We go and absolutely loop it. I've definitely damaged the rear end. Yep, rear wing is more than damaged, I think. But I'm not giving up. I'm getting a lap out of this thing. I reckon we were going to be close to the 5 minute mark there. But as much as I love commentating over laps, yeah, doing some proper sweat mode ones like that, I still find really, really good fun. finally, finally I'm going to get a lap out of this thing. And you know what? We're only going to be about 3 seconds away from where I was last time. A 4:53.6 then around the Nürburgring. And there is no chance I would have been able to do that with commentary. This car is such an unbelievable handful. You know, I got a few questions on the last video whether it's more difficult than F122. Yes, in a very, very weird way. It's a lot more sensitive in a lot of different situations, but very, very good fun, and also in other ways. You know, the traction, lower speed, although sometimes can be a bit more unpredictable, is certainly a lot sort of more there than you get on F122. But thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure you leave a like, get yourself subscribed as well. And yeah, I'll let you guys enjoy some of the fails from this video that's taken a lot longer than I ever thought it would.